Monday Night Raw, October 8, 2018. Finally, a Monday Night Raw that clearly shows the friction in the war between both fan bases. The fan base that'll take anything that Vince McMahon gives them and they'll love it like it's the best thing in the world every single week. No matter what Vince gives them, redundant rematches, stale promos, 50-50 booked characters, they love it. And the fan base that sees through all the bullshit, they use common sense, logic, and knowledge to depict what they're watching, to decipher what they're watching. Those two entities collided last night because for the first time in a long time, I took a break from social media. I totally stayed off as a representative of the community, and I took a step back and I just watched the train wreck on social media as both fan bases collided. It was the greatest Raw of the year. It was the worst Raw of the year. It was the greatest thing in the world since fucking vanilla pudding. Vanilla pudding sucks. It's a blue sky day. It's a gray and gloomy day. Nobody could agree on anything. And it really shows you that there is two different sides of thinking for these two entities. There really is no getting through to the other side. It's almost like a Republican and a Democrat. There's no getting through to the other side. There is no question. So first and foremost, you came to the right channel because I dub myself the smartest man in pro wrestling, and as much as that's a fun little thing to say, it's times like last night where I truly believe that I am the smartest motherfucker to analyze pro wrestling. Because I look at it from all sides. I take nibbles and bites from both fucking entities. And I bring it all together and I make my conclusion. I'm like my own fucking FBI doing my own investigation. There is no question Monday Night Raw was huge last night in Chicago. There's no question. Kurt Angle returns. DX is announced officially for their match. The Bellas turn heel. Bobby Lashley turns heel. You have the return of Trish and Lita. That's pretty fucking huge, all of it. Paul Heyman makes an appearance after not being around for a month and a half, 2 months, whatever the fuck it was. You had a little bit of all that nostalgia, returns, heel turns. You had all that in one show. So, compared to what WWE has been giving us, that's a huge show. It seemed like every segment, had something going on storyline-wise for the future. Now, does that mean it was a good storyline for the future setup? Absolutely not. Does that mean it was a fun return or a fun heel turn? Or fun nostalgia? Absolutely not. And that's where you have to honestly use your logic and common sense to decipher through the bullshit. The people calling this the greatest Raw of the year and the greatest Raw in a long time, you're doing that because you've been fed the most redundant, simplistic, nonsensical bullshit for the past year. And really for the past 10 plus years. So that when you get returns, when you get heel turns, when you get a glimpse of nostalgia, it seems epic. It is smoke and mirrors. But with WWE standards as of late, and again, as of late, I mean the last 10 years, yes, that was a huge Raw because of the events that happened. Not because the epicness of them, not because the moments were great. Kurt Angle returned. Okay, but he was only gone for 2 months tops. I might be being generous with that. So how much of a return is it? D-Generation X return, they're back. But how much of a return is that? We just saw Triple H and Michaels together. Michaels in the corner of Triple H. Okay, but we've known Michaels was coming back to compete for Crown Jewel for over a month now. Now they're just slapping a name on it to sell more t-shirts and make it sound better. It's like they did with The Shield. We were hoping for much more with The Shield, but it just became Roman and his side chicks, his side bitches, because that's what Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose have been reduced to. It's not The Shield. They should rename it Roman Reigns and his side bitches. Bottom line. So DX is just a cute little name that they're slapping on this little reunion. And I told you this was going to happen. They're just coming out and cutting another promo to The Undertaker and Kane. Next week, you might have Kane come out and cut a promo. The next week, you're going to have Triple H come out and cut a promo. The next week, Undertaker and Shawn Michaels will do separate promos. And we're just going to have a promo war to Crown Jewel. We've already seen a promo war between Triple H and Undertaker to get the Super Showdown. I don't need to see this for the next 4 weeks. So just like Kurt Angle, that's a very underwhelming return. Lita and Trish return, but they've already returned within the past couple months when it was announced that they were having matches at Evolution. So not only did we see them within the last couple months, but we've also known for a while now that they're competing at Evolution. So not much of a return, and then you see what they did in their return, and all they did was smush their matches together. So now Lita's match with Mickey is now merged in with Alexa Bliss's and Trish Stratus's match. So what could have been pretty decent is now just a tag team match. I can't stand nonsensical tag team matches. So if anything, they made what could have been decent in those two matches, they made it worse. Now it is just a tag team match. Kurt Angle's return, by the way, he came back as a conquistador. He is dressed up in some fucking Mexican wrestling outfit, right? That they would have down there in fucking Lucha Libre. Which, yes, is great wrestling. If you haven't caught wrestling down in Mexico or Lucha Libre style, it is fucking phenomenal. But what the fuck is Kurt Angle making his return as a conquistador? Obviously, this was just a diss to Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho last week sent out a tweet after Raw saying, sometimes wrestling can be boring. Obviously, WWE's brass didn't like that. They felt it was a diss. So they had Kurt Angle make his return as this Lucha Libre style star. Kind of like what Chris Jericho did at New Japan Pro Wrestling's fucking... Or what was it? That was actually not New Japan Pro Wrestling. I apologize. That was All In. That was Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks show All In Chicago, of all places. So right there in Chicago, Chris Jericho came in to attack Kenny Omega, but he was dressed up as Pentagon Jr.'s fucking... What do you call him? His fucking 2.0, I guess you could say. But he came in as Pentagon Jr. So this was WWE's way to say, yeah, you thought what we had last week was boring? This is any better? You coming in as fucking Pentagon? In Chicago? Dressed up as a fucking Lucha Libre? Come on, man. So they had Kurt Angle go out there in Chicago, same place, dressed up as a fucking Lucha Libre, man. A fucking luchador. Lucha Libre star. And he was a fucking conquistador. This was obviously a diss to Chris Jericho. But they used a return to take a jab at Jericho? How epic is that? How epic is DX's reunion? How epic was Lita and Trish's return? Not very epic. Bobby Lashley turns heel on a heel. You could call it a double heel turn all you want, but not many fans at all are thinking this morning that Kevin Owens has turned face. Yes, that might happen. Yes, that might have been a double heel turn, or double turn, not double heel turn. Owens already a fucking heel, so he would turn face. They call that a double turn. You could call it that all you want, but nobody really knows that this morning. We just saw Bobby Lashley go extra fucking brutal on a heel. So we are thinking that's a heel turn by Bobby Lashley, but it's on a heel. So you couldn't have done that at Super Showdown after John Cena wins the match with you. You attack John Cena. And maybe down the road it sets up a match, Lashley and Cena. Even if it didn't set up a match, it makes more sense to attack somebody like Cena. Or are they afraid that the crowd there in Australia was gonna fucking cheer Bobby Lashley? And they knew that in Chicago, Owens, by attacking Owens, he would get boos, Lashley would. Maybe that's their way of thinking. But either way, I saw a heel turn by a guy fucking up a heel. We don't even need a double turn. They just needed to book Kevin Owens as a dominant heel because he could have been. He was for a while. Now Kevin Owens is going to be a face? Kevin Owens isn't a face. The Bellas turned heel last night. But that's only because they rushed it, because for weeks they knew they wanted Nikki Bella versus Ronda Rousey. We've known that for months. But they were afraid of how the crowd was going to react to it, how the fans were going to be receptive to it, and we weren't. So they had to make the heel turn just weeks before Evolution. So they rushed that without any real friction. The only friction was between Nikki and Ronda at the beginning of Super Showdown, their match, and who was going to start the match. Other than that, they had their match last night with the fucking Riot Squad, a rematch, by the way, and then the Bellas just attack Ronda Rousey. Yes, it was a vicious attack, and that was only a vicious attack because Ronda Rousey was throwing her body into those steps, into that post, and into that barricade like no motherfucker before her. She looked like a champ, selling everything that was being done to her. That's why it looked like a brutal beating. You go back and watch those Brie Bella punches to Ronda. And it was like she was love tapping Birdie, petting Birdie. Putting Birdie to bed was more vicious probably than beating up Ronda Rousey. Brie Bella looked awful with her shots. But we've come to accept that with Brie Bella. Nikki Bella is showing us nothing more than what she was back in the day. And even worse now because she's back 3 steps. It's a shell of what she once was. She's more injured and she's not as good. Those are facts. So we're getting a injury-prone, not as good female wrestler going in there with one of the baddest women still to this day on the planet, Ronda Rousey. It doesn't make sense because it's not realistic. It's not believable, that match. So everything that we look at, and those fans that'll take anything Vince has given them and saying this is the greatest Raw in a long time, all year. Is it? Or for once in your life when you watch this product, will you look at how the other fan base watches and views the product? Use your head a little. Think that maybe this could have been way more creative, or at least I'll even take creative. Because nothing that happened last night was creative. They brought back all the stars. They did the turns. Nothing was done the right way. If you use your head, you wouldn't bring Kurt Angle back in a better way? I actually thought the Jobber Battle Royal to make Baron Corbin look fucking super dominant in an easy victory, I thought that was actually really good. But it was ruined by Kurt Angle's return as a conquistador. You couldn't bring Kurt Angle back in a better way. But you dress him up like a fucking schmuck to take a jab at Jericho from what he did in Chicago and then saying that Monday Night Raw, or basically wrestling can be boring sometimes, as a jab to Raw. So let's make Kurt Angle the blunt of the fucking joke too. So Kurt Angle comes back like a fucking whack job. You got D-Generation X saying they're back when you're just putting a fancy fucking title on yourself. Trying to get more nostalgia fucking t-shirt sales. Bobby Lashley turns heel on a heel. So we think it's a double turn, but that wouldn't make sense because why the fuck is Kevin Owens turning face? Other than the fact that you have nothing for him because you don't know what you're doing with your talent. Bella's turn heel on Ronda to set up a Nikki Bella versus Ronda Rousey match that is fucking not believable at all. Ronda Rousey can beat up both Bella twins with a hand tied behind her back, probably both. Lita and Trish Stratus return just to announce that they're smudging their matches together, and now it's going to be a tag match at Evolution. Who gives them the authority to do that? That's not even believable. Alexa and Mickie James are like, we beat you up right now if you had somebody with you or something. And Trish Stratus is like, oh, a tag match. I have the perfect person. Here comes Lita. And it's officially announced. Baron Corbin, Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, no word that they fucking made it was just announced, right? Trish Stratus just made the match. I mean, the show just runs off the rails sometimes and it can't get back on track. And you have that fan base that says, but it's better than what we've gotten all year, so it was really great. No, this type of shit, average should be happening every week. This should be the average. We should actually be getting more than that if you want to be a great show. If you want to be a post-special event or post-pay-per-view show. But average is being generous. I demand even more than that being average. But to appease that fan base, that should be the very least of what we're getting every week. Great and epic storytelling. Great and epic evolution of a feud. Great and epic character building is way more than what we saw last night. Bringing back nostalgia. I love nostalgia. I love returning stars. Use them correctly. Last night it was a whole lot of, oh, Trish. The segment happens. You're waiting for something epic. It never happens. And then at the end you're like, oh, Trish and Lita. Well, all right. At least we got to see them. Right? Kurt Angle returns. Oh, Kurt's back. You're waiting for something, a big payoff. Why is he dressed like a fucking lunatic? Nothing really, no big payoff. Angle slam, Baron Corbin's like, what the fuck? We understand why it's being done to set up the Survivor Series match, but that's how you bring back Kurt Angle? Fell flat to me. I would have liked Baron Corbin just to win the fucking Jobber Battle Royal, play off the character like that he is, which is a chicken shit character, but I love that about Baron Corbin. I'm now in this fucking World Cup shit because of my huge epic victory. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? You won a battle royal against jobbers. That's the story you take going forward. But no, let's bring Kurt Angle out to look like a fucking idiot. D-Generation X. You slap the name on it. You're not DX. Where the fuck is the rest of DX? China you don't even fucking mention. Though she's no longer with us, she should at least be a fucking Hall of Famer by now. You don't even mention her. You won't bring Road Dogg, X-Pac, Billy Gunn. All of that is D-Generation X. The two of you is just Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Don't be stupid. I hope you are understanding where I am coming from here. On the grand scale of things, you are gonna sit back and call that a huge Raw, yes, because whether we like it or not, a lot of shit happened that directly impacts the near future and the far future. Directly impacts Evolution and directly impacts Survivor Series and beyond. And Crown Jewel especially. And beyond. But just because it impacts it, just because this was a huge Raw in that aspect, doesn't make it an epic Raw. Doesn't even make it a great Raw. That fan base can borderline sit on good Raw. I'm not even giving it good. Because if you tell me you're bringing Kurt Angle back, you're going to label DX, you're gonna bring Shawn Michaels out of retirement officially, right? Kurt Angle's coming back after a couple of months. You're going to bring back Trish and Lita for a segment. You're going to do a heel turn with the Bellas. You're going to do a heel turn with Bobby Lashley. If you give me, and I'm the head creator, you give me all that news and I'm supposed to write the show, I'm going to give you an epic fucking show with all that material. Instead, they put all of this huge shit they wrapped it in a present with a nice little bow, and they gave us nonsensical bullshit. The Bella's heel turn is on Ronda, when the world knows, or should know, or they just lack common sense, logic, and knowledge, that Ronda Rousey could beat the fuck out of the Bella twins and 5 of their best friends all at once. A heel turn with Lashley when it's against another heel. And if you talk double turn, then now Owens is a face when he shouldn't be because he's a heel at heart. Lita and Trish return to tell everyone that their matches are being smudged together into a tag match. If that's the case, you might as well make it a 6-woman tag match, have Alexa and Mickey bring in someone else, and bring in AJ fucking Lee to tag up with Trish and Lita. If that's the case, I'd rather the 6-woman tag at that point than this fucking tag match. Keep them separate, man. Let's see what Trish and Alexa could do. Let's see what Lita and fucking Mickie James could have done. It's obviously to hide any weaknesses that Trish and Lita have, but that's a scapegoat. Trish and Lita are training. Trish and Lita are confident. They have the fucking knowledge of this business. They know the psychology of a match. They will be fine in there singly. But they're going to make that a tag match so they can have more time probably for some nonsensical Nia Jax match. You have all of this happen last night. There's no way this show should not have been epic. Instead, it ends in a debate still. Was it even a good show? Was it a fucking horrible show? It was the greatest show of the year. It was the worst show of the fucking year. I said in my pre-show yesterday, this had the capability last night of being the worst show of all time for Raw. Of all time, because I also knew they were going to be jet lagged, 16 plus hours on a flight from Australia to Chicago. But the show far surpassed my fucking wildest expectations. They actually pulled out all the stops, and we know why, because they didn't want Chicago to have any chance to shit on the show. So by keep giving them newsworthy shit, or it's supposed to be newsworthy shit, they don't have time to shit on the show. And it worked. It absolutely worked. But fuck! All of that shit, you couldn't have made those segments much fucking better? At least fucking good? We should be talking about how epic Raw was last night. And if that fan base that thinks this was the greatest fucking Raw, if they really look at themselves in the mirror and ask themselves, why was this the greatest Raw in a long time or all year? Why? If they ask themselves truthfully, and they do have logic, common sense, and some fucking knowledge within them, they're going to expose themselves. They're going to realize that all they were happy about was Kurt's return after 2 months tops of being away. Was Shawn Michaels and Triple H, who we've been seeing many times over the last 2 months, just labeling themselves as DX again? Was Trish and Lita coming out just to put their matches together into a tag match at Evolution? The Bella Twins turning heel on Ronda, where the payoff is nowhere near realistic. There's no way they could beat Ronda Rousey if they used steel chairs, sledgehammers, if they had superpowers and could throw lightning bolts at Ronda. She's not losing to the Bellas. Not realistically. Not at all. If the whole locker room comes out to fuck up Ronda Rousey, they're not beating Ronda. If you look at yourself in the mirror and you ask yourself why you love this show, it's really only because you saw shit you don't usually see. That doesn't mean it was done correctly, and that doesn't mean that Vince was giving you smoke and mirrors. You can enjoy it. You can love it. That's your prerogative. You watched a show and you enjoyed it. That's awesome. I'm not telling you not to. But for you to really wonder why there's smart fans, smarks, like yours truly, that decipher and call out the bullshit for you to wonder why our base does that? That boggles my fucking mind. That makes me think, wow, you're fucking stupid as fuck. Just because you enjoyed it doesn't make you smart and doesn't make us less knowledgeable. Doesn't make us the stupid ones because we actually know what we're watching. We understand why things are being done. We know what the outcome is, and we know what it could have been, should have been, and would have been had it had the proper timing and proper booking and creativity from what the finished product was. The difference is you guys will settle for anything. So when you finally get something good, it becomes great. When you get something great, to you it's epic. WWE has set the bar so low that you're willing to accept anything up front, and when something good does happen, or should happen anyway, you are balls to the wall ecstatic. When something that should be happening every week, some shock, some awe, some surprise, returns, turns, you name it, shit that should be happening every week, when it finally happens, you think it's the greatest thing in the world. Meanwhile, there's veteran fans like myself who know exactly what's going on, who know how flat the segments fell on their face, who know that the feuds, the storylines, and the characters are nowhere near what they should be, what they could be, and what they would be if Vince McMahon wasn't so far up fucking the XFL's ass, Triple H wasn't so far up NXT's ass, and Stephanie McMahon wasn't trying to plan the next fucking charity that she's gonna promote on Raw, or walking in any fucking protests, or trying to put up women's monuments, or whatever feminist movement that Stephanie McMahon is tying herself to. If they would all collectively come together and give a fuck about their product again, give a fuck about their WWE once more, maybe we'd have an epic product. Maybe all the shit that should have been over-the-top newsworthy last night would have actually been. Maybe a Kurt Angle return after 2 months would have actually been epic. Maybe a Bella heel turn would have been really fucking cool. Maybe an actual DX reunion in return would have been cool. Maybe Trish and Lita coming back and announcing big news for Evolution would have been cool if it was actually big news for Evolution. I hope you're keeping track. If not, then you're probably on that other fan base. But while we sit back, and there's no doubt it was a huge Raw, but that's a huge Raw to WWE's standards. And again, they set the bar so low that the fans, that's their standards. They think huge just means fucking epic. No, huge just means they filled every segment with some fucking smoke and mirror so the Chicago crowd didn't shit on them. That's what it was. And you got people like me that just call that out, and we're the fucking bad guys. Well, first of all, make no mistake about it. I declare, I confirm, I am the bad guy of bad guys. There's no doubt about it. I've been the bad guy since the age of fucking 5. I have no problem playing the role of the bad guy, but let's know why we're calling me the bad guy. Not because I'm dropping facts and truth. That should just be the fucking norm in this community. We all should be dropping facts and truth. The problem is, you got people that don't know this business, making videos and podcasting and being journalists. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about, so they're spewing this fucking bullshit and nonsense, thinking that they're going to be employed by WWE one day, when really, WWE is laughing at these motherfuckers. They're not respected by WWE. Meanwhile, you got people like me calling them out on their shit. And while they may not like it a lot of the times, you're damn well better bet they respect people like me a lot fucking more because I drop that truth and I drop that fact. But that's not what makes me the bad guy. What makes me the bad guy is because I don't give a fuck if I offend you. I don't give a fuck about today's societal rules that I'm supposed to follow. I don't care if there's a protest going on outside and I'm supposed to be a part of it. Fuck that and fuck you. I beat to my own fucking drum. I'm more knowledgeable than the average bear. I see all the smoke and mirrors. A huge Raw last night with so much going on that it affects the future, Evolution, Crown Jewel, even Survivor Series. You're right. I'll give you that. Huge Raw. A huge disappointment. A huge failure, because none of it was done in epic format or fashion. None of it was captivating. But you loved it, because WWE set your bar so low. To you, that was probably like a World Series victory for your favorite baseball team. The Super Bowl victories for your favorite football team. That was probably like getting a new car on your 16th birthday. That Raw was the best thing all year. Meanwhile, smart motherfuckers like me, that was Monday Night Raw, that was WWE, and that was Vince McMahon doing what they always do, giving us nonsensical, redundant bullshit. Because those same people that are calling this the Great Raw don't want to drop their own facts and truth, don't want to call it like it is, don't want to say that there was 2 rematches just from this past Saturday's Super Showdown. 2 6-man tag matches. The Shield and Braun and his fucking side bitches, Dolph and Drew. And Roman and his side bitches. In the main event, in a match we just saw Saturday. But BC, the wrestling was good. Yeah, the wrestling could be good 90 times out of 100. Those 6 men can get in there and give you a good match. I bet you. That doesn't mean we need to see it every fucking week. Connor and Victor versus Gable and Glorious Bobby Roode. Again, 7 weeks in a row. Why are we seeing Connor and Victor 7 weeks in a row, period? And then why are we seeing them against the same fucking team? Either singles or back in tag action or back in singles. 7 weeks in a row. And you're going to tell me this is creative. BC, they're trying to make something out of the Ascension. First of all, the Ascension is fucking one of the most awful acts I've ever seen in pro wrestling. In 30 plus years that I've been watching this, the Ascension ranks up there with some of the worst. I would take Doink the Clown, I would take Duke the Dumpster Drosy, and I would take the hockey character, the Goon, all before the Ascension. But even if what you're saying, maybe there's truth to it. Maybe they're trying to make something of the Ascension. Really? You had them defeat Gable and Bobby Roode several times over the last several weeks. And then last week, they're just losing from a fucking suplex. Gable and Roode pick up the victory, which they never should have been losing to the Ascension anyway. But last night, all of the build these past 6-7 weeks for the Ascension, they were beat by a suplex. What's next? Does Connor and Victor separate? Great. Now we're going to have 2 different segments with 2 different Ascension members. 7 weeks in a row we've been seeing this tag team match in some way or another. A repeat main event from Saturday's Super Showdown. The Bellas and Ronda versus the Riot Squad again. Rematch after rematch. But they won't say that part of the show. No. What about the newsworthy stuff? And if you watch some of the journalists that cover the good side of that's all they see, right, is the rainbows and the cupcakes. If you watch what they're writing, they're literally saying, well, I mean, it's the best we've gotten in a long time, so that was a great show. It's like they're settling because that's what they're doing. They're settling. They set their own bar so low because WWE already preset it for them. Some of these journalists are talking about how this was the best Raw all year. Just because WWE brought these superstars from behind the curtain with no creativity behind it. No epic segments. But it was the best show all year. And then you wonder why us, the smart ones, then you wonder why we look at these journalists of pro wrestling and we laugh. Because they're nothing but little marks. Literally marks. I'd give them some respect if they were at least smarks. Smart marks. But these journalists are just marks. who are clinging that one day they'll be employed by WWE. And that's the difference between the Amplified Man and these dumb shits that call themselves journalists. And maybe do podcasts as well. Maybe they even do YouTube channels themselves. They're not worth looking into if you ask me. That's why I don't know. But that's the difference between me and them. They are hoping that WWE calls them one day so they can go up to Stanford and say, I always talk good about you guys. I love everything you do. I eat all the shit that you feed me. And then there's people like me, who I'm sure WWE would love to have people like me, but I'm the one who has never went to Stanford for a job. I'm the one who never sent in the application or tryout video, anything, because I am doing my entertainment career. I'm making my own movies. I'm writing my own books, my own screenplays. I'm doing my acting on the side. I'm not ready to do any pro wrestling shit over in WWE or anywhere yet. My decision is why I'm not in pro wrestling's ringside of any promotion right now. Those motherfucking fools, they are clinging to their phones every day hoping they get a phone call. That's the difference. When you look and sound desperate, you are fucking desperate. So if you enjoyed Raw last night, golf clap, right? Isn't that what we do in WWE? That's what we've been reduced to, golf clap. Awesome. This probably isn't the channel for you because we dissected a lot more than just, wow, nostalgic returns. Hey, redundant matches, but the action is epic. We do a little bit more. This might not be the channel for you, but thanks for coming. But if you enjoyed it, good for you. If you have brain cells, even better for you. But the downside is that we see all the bullshit Vince has given us. And we endure that because we love this product. We love this business. We love the WWE. We're not just going to stop watching if you don't like it. No, we know what the company, the business, this company, especially WWE, we know what it can be. Man, the changes. There's 3 or 4 main changes. If we can do that, this could be something. It doesn't have to be the Attitude Era again. We could just start doing 3 main things, man. Build characters. Stop the 50-50 booking. Winning 2 weeks in a row, lose a week. Win 3 weeks, lose 2 weeks. 50-50 booking is not going to help you build anybody. Build characters. Give us storylines that we give a fuck about. Interesting and intriguing storylines. If you do those 2 things, the feuds, when 2 superstars collide, the feuds will be must-see. Those 3 things, man. Must-see feuds, intriguing storylines, building characters. They don't want to do that. This company does it. It's like they lost how to do it, but then every once in a while they'll show glimpses that they fully are capable of doing it. They fully remember how to do it. It's like they don't need to. They have that side of the fan base that literally eat everything and that got them that big TV deal. And they don't want to be better because they want to take that time that they could be making this better. They want to take all that time and focus it on other shit. And that's why when people go, NXT is so good, I hope you love it because it's Triple H's involvement with NXT that makes him not give a shit about doing more with WWE. Giving Vince McMahon more of his input. No, he's got his own little baby over there. Stephanie McMahon is too involved in what the woman movements are doing around the world and trying to be a part of that so WWE looks so fucking epic that she's not making WWE actually epic. Vince McMahon is trying to give NFL competition. He's forgetting his own product is suffering. You don't think ratings matter, honestly, guys? You think it's just football season and baseball playoffs? No. The ratings are sinking because the product is driving people away. The people care more about the football. If you are delivering awesome entertainment, intriguing storylines, must-see TV, they're tuning out of football and they're watching what's on TV. Man, wait till the next television contract. I want to see everybody who was saying they're making all this money from that TV deal so they don't give a shit about the fans. Let's see what happens with the next TV deal. Everybody was getting big TV deals this time around because the new format, everyone is seeing that people are staying home more and doing more in their phones and in their fucking laptops. Are people coming out of the theaters, out of the malls, out of all that shit, out of fucking going grocery stores even. There's now apps and grocery store apps where you literally just type in what you want. There's somebody that shops for you and delivers it to your house. That's what these networks are doing. That's why everyone's getting big deals. That's why NASCAR, that is fastly dying. I was going to say a slow death. No, it's a fast death for NASCAR. NASCAR is going on its way out. And NASCAR got a huge television deal because all these networks are trying one last ditch effort. Watch what happens. When it goes over to Fox, what do you think's going to happen? If they're dropping lower and lower, and NBC and CBS and ABC are crushing Fox, they'll pull the plug on this shit. Anyway, I guess the main gist of this story is now we're starting to really see those two sides of the fence. The people that love the shit they're being fed and the people that are fed up. And they're calling out the bullshit even more. You guys know what side I'm on, and I'm doing this fight for you guys, man. For myself, as a fan for over 30 years, for all of you that stay true to this channel, that smash that fucking like button, that leave the fucking comments when you do, either which one. Some of you do both. That smash the subscribe button, that smash the notification bell so that when my videos come up, you're one of the first to see it. It's you guys I do it for. We can make this shit better, man. You know, our voices do gotta be fucking heard at the right times. We're not gonna block highways from people trying to get to the emergency room or trying to get back to their 6-year-old son or trying to get back to make dinner after a 12-hour shift. We ain't gonna protest and block highways, but we're gonna do this at the right time in the right ways, man. And just like the videos I made about Naomi, and Naomi ends up becoming champion and strolling into Orlando's WrestleMania as champion. Yeah, those were movements by yours truly because I felt Naomi was getting the fucking shaft. What's the deal with Sasha Banks? I have no idea. Is she fucking injured? Is she pregnant? We're not hearing nothing. Did she just get in trouble again by WWE? They're not even mentioning her? Bayley is now with fucking Finn Balor. By the way, you want rematches? Another rematch with Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox. But that side won't mention that. That was part of the Epic Raw last night, DC. Another rematch. Finn Balor and Bayley. Team B and B. Bullshit and bullshit. That's B and B. Team bullshit and bullshit. But they won't even mention Hugs and Hugs connection. Hugs and stupid collection. What the fuck was it? Stupid and hug connections of hugs. Whatever the fuck Sasha and Bayley's team was. I don't know what happened to Sasha, man, but how does nobody have any fucking news? I'm starting to question if this is an injury. You know what I mean? Amplified, man. Double fisting. Maybe a vanilla latte. Maybe a fucking mocha latte. Maybe a hazelnut latte. Maybe I'll just do fucking 6 straight fucking shots. Right? Let's just do some fucking espressos or some shit. Who knows? But we getting amped up even more. We're gonna kick ass today. Hopefully you guys do the same. I'll catch you tomorrow for SmackDown's review and reaction. SmackDown we can always look forward to for giving us a good 2 hours. Hopefully they come through tonight as well. And I'll talk about it with you guys tomorrow. For now, the Amplified Man. Check you later.